Today I'm here with 10 of the best tips and tricks for new players in Frag Pro Shooter. What is up, my friends? My name is Echo, and today I'm here in a brand new game from my channel, Frag Pro Shooter, and I'm here with the co-leader and pro player for Echo Esports, Quick Draw. How you doing, brother?
I am all right, man. Having a good evening.
Good. I'm really happy to have you on the channel, and let me tell you this, I hope to have you on a lot more because I really am looking forward to making frag videos on my channel. I'm in love with the game, but this is a game that some people don't know about, so I want to bring exposure to it, and what better way than a top 10 list with 10 of the best things that people need to know as a new player. So you have some tips for me, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're going to get into those with you guys today. I want to shed some love out there to Echo Esports, which is where I like to call my home. That esports organization is just such a beautiful place. But let's get into number one. So the number one tip is don't stop moving when you shoot.
Absolutely correct. The enemy AI will target you nearly instantly. If you stop to move, your opponent has an easier shot at you, and so does the AI with their current tracking ability.
Yeah, and that's common in a lot of shooters. It's called strafing. You always try and move back and forth when you shoot. At the end of the day, you're making yourself a harder target to hit. So I think that's a good tip. Let's get into number two. Number two is know when to swap characters, because in Frag Pro Shooter, it is a 5v5, but you are controlling 5 different characters and you could jump between those 5 different ones. So knowing when to swap is important. Quick Draw, why?
Well, it really depends on where your characters are at the time. If you're pushing bunkers, you want to swap to the opposite side, take the opposite bunker while your AI are taking the set objective. Also, if you know you're going to die, there's no point in staying on that character because you'll have a small couple of seconds before you are able to switch. If you're not going to die, switch.
Okay, I got it. So that you don't have to deal with that respawn time, so you could actually be in the game utilizing a character.
Absolutely, creating pressure when in the game.
Look at me, man. I know what I'm talking about already. I'm in a good spot. So in Frag Pro Shooter, there are 4 different types of cards. There's common, rare, epic, and legendary. But legendary cards don't actually make them good.
That's right, and to that point, just because you see the rainbow border doesn't necessarily make the character great. Everyone new to the game believes that just because they see that rainbow means it's an absolutely OP card. But that's not always true. Right. Most decks and most top tier decks have commons and rares, even at most 1 epic or 1 or 2 legendaries. I
know that one of my favorite cards is, and I know it's yours too, is Andromeda, and she's just a common card.
And by my opinion, the absolute strongest and most skill necessity card in the game to win your games and absolutely dominate.
Yeah, but again, with that being said, in all games that have this type of tier system for cards, everyone looks up to the legendaries as the best, but, you know, like you're saying here, it doesn't actually mean that. Not to say that there aren't some amazing legendary cards in the game.
It's really cool to see what every card can offer for you and what might offer for your deck, but more often than not, play what's comfortable.
Play what's comfortable, play what you like. Our 4th tip is that the card rarity affects the respawn time of each of the characters. So what exactly does that mean?
The more rare the card, the longer the respawn rate is. So your common cards obviously have the lowest respawn rate, and your legendary takes longer to respawn. So make sure to build your deck around that.
So that actually gives a huge advantage to common cards because they're going to have more time in the arena rather than the legendaries, which if they're dying are going to be spending more time out of bounds.
Absolutely, and those critical seconds between respawns can really make or break a game.
You know, I'll tell you the truth, I didn't know that one, but now I'm rethinking things as I know. The number 5 tick, nope, not tick. Before I get into the number 5 tip, I want to let you guys know that there's a link in the description of this video to download Frag Pro Shooter. If you do that, you're going to get yourself 1 golden chest, 500 coins, 50 diamonds, and this is for new players coming on over and joining Frag. So hit the link in the description of this video, take advantage of those rewards. The number 5 tip is to always direct your AI to defend or to attack. And in Frag Pro Shooter, you have these targets that you have to take down. They're not actually called targets, but Quick Draw will tell us exactly what they're called. You have to take them down to take out a bunch of points from your opponent. Also, you kill your opponents, you get points from that. So you could tell your AI to either go on the offense to attack a target or to defend your target. So Quick Draw, why don't you tell us a little bit more detail about that?
In Frag Pro Shooter, there are these six objectives. There are your 3 and the opposing 3. Your 3 bunkers, the opponent's 3 bunkers. Your AI always tends to be slightly silly depending on what type of card it is. So depending on the deck you're going to play, if you're going to play an attacking deck, a very offensive deck, and pressure-heavy deck, you want to always make sure the opposing enemy's bunker is selected. That way your AI knows to automatically work towards the objective. Same thing when you're going to the 3rd and final tower, you want to click on that bunker tower, that way the AI knows to go and attack that area.
So basically you're saying don't trust the AI, you got to give them some direction.
Absolutely. They're not the smartest, but they're not the dumbest.
Yeah, well, they're AI. I mean, that's typical with any game, but if they were too smart, it would be too OP, either on defense or on offense. So direct your AI to where you want them to go. It's a great tip. The number 6 tip is to know your health pot positions, because in Frag Pro Shooter, in the arena, there are health packs or health pots all around the arena. Quick draw.
There are currently 6 health pack spots on the map, and they are symmetrical to both sides of your and the opponent portion of the map. Knowing where they are will save you time searching for them and may just win you the battle. With that little chip of health left, heal up, which might just win you the game.
Yeah, and that's something I do all the time. Like, I notice that if I take a few steps over here to the sideline, I can pick up this health pot, and then I can just have a little bit more guts when I'm going into that fight. Smart thing to do with really any game that has this type of a health management system. It's something smart that you should be doing in Frag.
Absolutely. And knowing exactly where they are can mean literally walking backwards into them while you're firing forwards. That way you can regain the health while you're in the current fight.
Yeah, and that's pro status right there. That's what makes you one of the best, man. The number 7 tip is, if you're going to die and if you know death is coming, use your character's ability before you go.
Another awesome point to add there, Echo. If you know you're going to die and you can get even just a little bit more chip damage like you can in other games, that chip damage can go a long way. The AI don't automatically take health pots. So when you swap to the next character, you might be able to kill them and keep pressure and continue to make your push or your defense.
That's a good one. And I have to say, guys, Quick Draw keeps saying that I'm giving these good ideas, but I have to say, these are all his ideas. Most of this did not come from my brain. So all the credit is going to you, Quick Draw. You're just such a gentleman.
Thank you very much, Echo.
The number 8 tip for Frag Pro Shooter is you're going to want to pick a main character when you start playing. I need you, Quick Draw, to go into a little bit of detail about this so that people can understand.
Absolutely. So when you're first starting out, you start out with a few simple characters. To learn the basic mechanics of the game, to learn the outline of the map and how the game works, it's best, in my opinion, to pick a single character and play off of that. Most of the top players will main a single character, and everything else is just secondary to the way their deck runs. So when you're first starting out, pick one, main something, figure it out, learn the game, learn the mechanics, learn how to play and operate. That way, when it comes time, as you're progressing up the ladder, you know what you're doing and nothing is new to you.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to give a little bit of time to playing a character, because I know for me personally, I didn't always play Andromeda. And then I started to play her, and it was awkward in the beginning because I wasn't used to playing her. And I was like, I don't really like her. But I put the time in. I sunk in not a lot of time. And I realized that she really is a great character. I learned how to use her, and now she is my main, the one that I play the majority of the time. So another great tip. Before we get into the number 9 tip, I want to let you guys know at the end of this video, I have a vlog from when the Echo Esports management went over to France to visit the OBB studio. It's a really great thing, and if you want to know what it looks like, stay tuned until the end of the video. And while you're here right now, throw a big like in the video. It'll help me out. The number 9 tip is to try out different decks when you start playing the game.
Never be afraid to try something new. As in life, as is Frag. New things can make or break the way you play the game. Different characters always change with updates and balance changes. Just because there's a set meta doesn't mean that you have to play that. That doesn't make it good or bad. Whatever you feel you're comfortable with, learning new characters, learning new strategies may just work best for you.
Yeah, and on top of that, when you're facing people that are used to playing against meta decks, when they play against something different, a character that maybe they're not typically playing against, it could mess people up and actually give you the advantage if you're not playing a meta deck. So play what works for you, play what you enjoy, and get good at the deck that you enjoy. The number 10 tip is to have fun and to learn from your losses. Quick Draw, give us your last bit of insight, brother.
When I first started playing this game, before I joined up with Echo Esports, there was nothing but big fat L's handed to me by all of the previous best players. And you know, I took that with a grain of salt. I saw what they were doing, I learned from what they were doing, and that motivated to push me to be the absolute best that I can be. A defeat is nothing negative. A defeat gives you the ability to learn from your mistakes and to push forward, and that's how I got to where I am. That's how I'm Echo Quick Draw.
And that is why you are a champion, brother, because that's a great mindset for any game. I mean, that's literally the mindset you need to have as a gamer if you're trying to be the best in any game, not only Frag Pro Shooter.
It's delicious.
So that, my friends, is the top 10 list for new players in Frag Pro Shooter. Quick Draw, thanks so much for coming down today, man. I hope to have you back again on the channel.
Absolutely. It was a complete charm. I'm happy to be here and represent my family.
Yeah, and much love to Echo Esports, the organization which I like to call home. Guys, if you're interested in finding out more about Echo Esports, there's a link in the description of this video to do just that. Also, if you want to try out Frag Pro Shooter, there's a link in the description for that as well, along with those rewards that I mentioned earlier in the video. Now, we're going to sign on off for today. Before you go, why don't you stick out until the very end so you can see the studio tour of OBB Studios. But for now, I'm out of here, and I'll see you guys back here later on today with another video. Until then, be good.
It's delicious.